G'day folks, it's Laura here, and today I'm going to do a flip cup pour predominantly in the yellow end of the spectrum. So my colours today include cadmium red hue, dark cadmium yellow hue, iridescent gold, light azo yellow, opaque primary yellow, and lemon cadmium yellow, as well as titanium white. Now, because I want this painting to be predominantly in the yellow side of the range, I'm only going to use a very small amount of this red colour. Now for my pouring medium today, I've decided to just trial one of the proprietary pouring mediums that I can just buy straight or order in Australia, and that's the Atelier pouring medium. Now I'm trying this just as a trial because it is very expensive and I don't really want to have to use this pouring medium straight, but I'm just curious to see how it actually affects my outcome in terms of the pour itself. So this pouring medium, I can tell, is very thick. Much thicker than I'm used to actually. Now, since most of these paints are actually Pebeo paints, I've just started with a relatively small amount of the pouring medium. I'll mix these up well before I then add just a little bit more pouring medium. So this pouring medium is incredibly thick. It's got a very long trace. So what I think I might need to do actually is add some water as I add some more of the pouring medium after I've mixed these first lot up. So just adding a little bit more of that pouring medium to take most of these up to about half one of these little shot glass cups. All except for the red, which is the darkest colour, and I didn't want it to actually become too over dominating in the pour. Now what I'm actually going to do is, because these paints with this pouring medium are so thick, I am going to add some water into these, because otherwise I'm not convinced I'll actually be able to do the pour at all, given how incredibly thick they are. Now I'm not going to worry about adding any water to this one on the right because it is a Jo Sonja paint, which is a lot thinner. There's still a considerable trace with these paints, even though I have now added more pouring medium as well as water. So I think I need to dilute with even more water. They're also very bubbly. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a lot of bubbles in these, which might be a disadvantage of using such a thick pouring medium. In addition with the Pebeo paints. Right, I am actually going to add more water to these. So in total, I think I'd estimate that I've probably added around 4 or 5 milliliters of water to each of these cups, which is a substantial amount. And they're only now coming back to the approximate thickness that I'd be comfortable actually pouring with. Okay, I think this might still be a little bit thick for me, but I'm willing to give it a go. So it's time to layer my cup now. And for this, I'm going to be using my standard cell activator. I'll link to a video on how to make this if you're interested. I'm going to start with a generous layer of cell activator on the bottom and the sides of the cup. My goodness, this pouring medium is so thick. I am not at all used to this. And I have no idea how this pour is going to turn out. Now with this pour, I haven't been dropping any of the paints from a height, as in a dirty flip cup. And the reason is because these paints are so thick, I think it would actually have a worse effect. So I have already prepared my canvas. This is the back of my canvas. I've added painter's tape as well as giant push pins. So it's time to flip the cup now. And this cup is very full and the paint is very thick. So let's see how we go on the flip. Okay, so it didn't spread a great deal, which I guess is to be expected because the paint was so thick. Let's see how we go. Might just shuffle this a little bit up that way. My goodness, this paint is like barely moving at all. It might be really difficult to stretch this. Okay, so the parts of the paint that have more of the cell activator, because the cell activator comparatively is so thin, I can see they're moving a lot faster than the rest of the bulk of the paint. But this is actually looking quite pretty at the moment. So I've got plenty of paint left in the cup, so I'll just get that out, cover the edges and the corners. Now I am a little bit too close to this edge for my liking, so I'm just going to pull the paint down a little bit. And this paint is unevenly thick. So parts of it are moving quite easily and other parts are moving very slowly. So wherever the paint is actually intermingling with the cell activator, it's moving a lot faster. Okay, leave it there for a sec. So going to pop the bubbles with my heat gun. Rightio. Okay, so I think the paint's fairly well centered now. I have no idea how spinning this is going to turn out, so let's give it a go. Okay, so that's quite interesting. I'm having trouble getting off this bottom left corner and the top right corner, so what I'm going to do is pull some paint from the baseboard and just stick it up there and make this slide a little bit better. And same goes for the top right. Make sure there's plenty of paint on there. Okay, we might try another spin. Wow, this is very interesting. So overall, I'm absolutely loving the color combinations here. I think it's very fiery, very beautiful. And I have some very interesting patterns, and I think these patterns, these sharp kind of edges down here, are caused by some parts of the paint staying stationary and other bits moving much faster because they're intermingling with the cell activator. It's happened up here to a little degree, but predominantly down in this section. So I can see that I've got some more bubbles coming up, so what I might do is just use the heat gun again. And I don't think I'm going to worry too much about these two little sections down here. This is the corner that hasn't yet come off, but I don't think I'm going to worry about getting it off the edge because this colour down here is fine. So what I'll do now is just make sure that the corners are fully covered. And pull the paint off from underneath the edges, just so it's not dripping down and making a big mess. Rightio. I think I might leave this one there. I think it's very interesting overall with the beautiful colours. And with these kind of shapes down here, a lot of lacing, some of the lacing's quite lovely and delicate. And I'm also getting some veil effects. So I've got a pale, probably the titanium white layer here, which is kind of softening that colour underneath, which is quite interesting. So anyway, this was just an experiment. I think the Atelier pouring medium by itself with Pebeo paints is far too thick, and this was, remember, diluted with water, so each cup of paint actually got about 5 mils of water in addition. So even the diluted Pebeo and Atelier pouring medium is a little bit too thick for me, I'd say. The other thing that I'd say about this, now that it's had a little bit of time to develop, is that I am seeing bubbles come up. So there's more of these kind of micro bubbles that have been rising to the surface throughout this process, and they're kind of interrupting the flow of the pattern. And I think What I might need to do in future is definitely dilute the pouring medium with water first before mixing it into the Pebeo paints. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks very much everyone for watching, and please let me know what you think in the comments.